Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All I Can Geek Moviecast, episode 359. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Corey Feinsod.
Hello.
And Tony Kokonakis.
You can't have children? Challenge accepted.
Anyways, welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to episode 359. Mike's not joining us today, unfortunately. If we possibly do a spoiler cast, he can join us for Defenders, but we might hold off till next week on that. So, anyways, so we got a lot of content coming at you, though, today. We've got 3 episodes coming. We've got Moviecast, Gamescast, and a bonus round of Game of Thrones. So look for that. Oh, there we go. Let's get into the box office real quick, and let's talk about the box office real quick. Yeah. So, Hitman's Bodyguard, 10.3 million. That's your number one movie of the weekend. Yeah. Annabelle Creation, Leap, Wind River, and Logan Lucky. The
like
what's
the
the
same.
stat here?
Did anything even come out this week?
I don't think anything did. I think it is a down week for this. So, but it's still like, that's way down. So this box office, for those who are wondering, if you haven't seen this stat yet, is the worst box office weekend in 15 years. 15 years. Yeah. So that's ridiculous. And I think they said that the top 3 movies were within 15 million or something like that, or failed to gross certain. I can't remember the stat now. Damn.
I got the article. The combined gross of the top 12 failed to total over $50 million. Something that has not happened in an August weekend in over 20 years.
Yeah, that's the stat I was looking for. So, yeah. So, Mike's not on here to talk about this because he was talking about, we were talking about on Slack, how, the movie theaters made money off of the Mayweather and McGregor fight that was happening last weekend. I'm looking at the numbers here. They made $2.6 million from that fight. They made nothing from that fight.
Yeah. I mean, that's good for the individual theaters because, I'm sure that was, revenue for them. But the movie companies don't give a shit about that. All their movies suffered this weekend.
No, they definitely didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. It's really bad. So, yeah, we've got, let's see here. I mean, there's just nothing out, though. I mean, we've got nothing. There's nothing out.
Nothing's coming out until It on September 8th.
Yeah, I mean, opening this week is nothing. Yeah. This could trump last week.
I mean, imagine if Planets or whatever, the Apes movie came out in August. And that would have made bank compared to being in July with everything else.
I think that
I mean, last year we had, not last year, but last couple of years we had some good August movies, Suicide Squad and Guardians. So they really helped the August month, right?
Yeah, I think that's what happened. But you got to wonder why these the studios didn't plan for this better, I guess, like you just said. Why not move Apes to here and rake in? I don't know.
Yeah. They're all afraid of Ryan Reynolds and his Hitman's Bodyguard, I guess.
Yeah, I don't
Staying
know.
at number 1. Is that 3 weeks in a row now? 2 weeks? Whatever it is?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's good for that movie, except it's not making any money.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. Anyways, it's a terrible box office. It's not good.
So what does that mean to you guys? What is that?
Well, I guess I've been saying it's been a down year.
Okay, but what is so what? So what is? How do you fix it? How do you change things, or what do you do in the future?
I mean, it's so on one aspect, it's just hard because entertainment is, an easy commodity these days. I mean, back in the day when there was not as much to do, for your time, vying for your free time, a lot of it was, movies, and then video games came along. Obviously, before all that was books, But now, I mean, you could do literally anything for your entertainment. I mean, you get free entertainment via Netflix, Hulu, well, not free, but cheap entertainment from Netflix, Hulu,
Much
Amazon,
easier access.
yeah, Apple TV, all this stuff. I mean, everything is vying for your attention. It's almost the lowest common denominator thing. So, as we could see by this weekend, the Mayweather versus McGregor fight, I mean, took a huge chunk of money out of the disposable income for entertainment. That's what I said when Avengers 2 lost a lot of its sales in the second weekend.
I think that does. I mean, it also helps our argument about the Avengers 3 opening up better than 2 did, because we're seeing this stat, and it's not just.
So you're saying because the movies are down, Avengers is going to be up? I don't get that, Jim.
No. I'm saying that because there was a massive fight.
No, I know, but last week was terrible weekend too. Like, it's not just this weekend.
Well, it's a separate. I think Jim's making a separate.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, like, we're talking about how the movie industry as a whole is down, and it's not. I mean, and I understand we're talking about a extreme super fight that is going to take a lot of attention, and that's one weekend. But I don't know. I mean, to say Avengers 3 is going to do better just by default because of like that doesn't seem like to make sense to me.
No.
I think it's going to just do better. It could do better because it's going to be a better movie. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think that but my point is like there was a lot of people that stayed home and got the fight, and
definitely.
And it was covers in bars were like ridiculous. So like people were getting the fights at their friends' houses and stuff. So there was just nobody out and about. That took a lot of crowds off the streets, and that's hurting this box office. I think. I mean, yes.
Well, it hurts it for 1 week.
Has it been dismal? Yeah, it's been down.
I would argue to say that it just takes the month. I mean, if you're planning on doing that and you're paying $100, I mean, you might not be going to the movies for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the last study I read said that the average person sees like 3 movies in movie theaters a year. So.
Yeah. I mean.
Again, it goes to show that it's hard to get butts in seats.
Corey, I mean, you and I are one of the biggest moviegoers, out there. We go to see a shit ton of movies, and we haven't gone. I mean, we just,
No, I know, but that's. I mean, for me, life has changed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Wait a minute, though.
It's easy. But I mean, that doesn't mean life has changed for every single person in the box.
No, well, maybe though. If we're like, here's the thing. The Nintendo right now is coming out with the NES Classic and the SNES Classic because people of our generation grew up with those consoles, and we have the money to buy that stuff and to do that stuff, and that's what we want to relive, kind of stuff. You know what I mean? That's the generation that is active right now in doing this. So now in the movie theater, maybe the age gap of where we are, the demographic for us, is just losing interest in the movies, and that's the biggest funding. Maybe that's age group. Maybe the younger generation doesn't go to the movies.
Could be.
I would bet it's a lot of that because I mean, like I said, shit, we just had Defenders come out on Netflix,
shit like that, yeah.
Stranger Things coming out in October. I guarantee you that'll have some impact on that box office weekend because who's going to go out?
Don't have to go out. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You can see it in the comfort of your own home. It's. There's many layers to it. Obviously, I think personally, one of the other factors is that there's just not that much innovation in the movie industry anymore. Like I've talked all this year, every single movie that was like supposed to be the big, AAA blockbuster sequel, most of them have bombed this year. Transformers. I'm sorry. When I say bomb, some of them bombed and some of them just did not perform.
Up to expectations.
Right, up to expectations. Like the new Fast and the Furious movie. God, what other movies came out this year? 50 Shades Darker. Cars 3. You have all these movies that span multiple demographics. Cars 3 is not the same demographic as 50 Shades Darker, which is not the same as Fast, whatever it was called this year. So it's just none of the Transformers. None of those sequels.
And all of those are sequels, yeah.
Right, exactly. So that's what That's what I'm saying is these new movies, the new movies that are coming out, aren't just generating interest. I would argue to say, Corey, I know we still got this bet going on, but Spider-Man Homecoming, if it was not so soon after Amazing Spider-Man 2, which did not receive well, I guarantee that movie would have done way better.
Probably.
Way better.
I mean, if that movie came out instead of the Amazing Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man 2, we probably would have done much better. But I mean, that's the fatigue factor, like you were saying, and that's one of the reasons I felt like that bet was kind of a safe bet. Not safe, I wouldn't say, but it could go either way. It really could.
It still could. And actually, just for our bet, August has been interesting just because of the weak box office. Spider-Man has been having decent holds, but it really all does come down to China and how it's going to perform in China. My saving grace is that they love Iron Man, so if they hammer Iron Man in the marketing, they'll do over 100 million. I think I got in the bet.
Well, if they can get over 100 million, that's great, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. But we'll see. I mean, I hope. I mean, I want it to be successful.
We said against BVS or Suicide Squad?
BVS.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still gonna be close.
It's definitely gonna. I think it's definitely beating Suicide Squad, if not beat it already. I don't even know where it's at right now. There was another point I wanted to make, and I lost it now that we went to Spider-Man. This what I wanted to say was all the actual original films as well that had potential to be like not necessarily franchises, but stuff that people are clamoring for, like the things that we don't want sequels, we want original films. Those have underperformed as well. Nobody really cares about them. Like,
well, how about
Logan? Nobody cared about that movie, and that's what people wanted. They wanted something original and something different, and yet it can't do well because it's not a sequel and it's not a franchise.
Well, how about the fact that maybe TV is winning this battle? Maybe TV entertainment's been much better this year.
It's not TV; it's streaming services.
Yep.
And it's been much more interesting for people to stay home and watch rather than go pay $18 for a movie ticket each. Yeah. Instead, you get Netflix or you watch Game of Thrones on HBO, which, throwing out giving more stats here, audience grew in 54% from season 6 to season 7.
Yep, that's
a better season.
Yeah, it has been.
It's been a better season, but I also think because this is the first season that really fully explored the new territory, like Uncharted.
Right. It's all new. It's all stuff we have. People have been clamoring for answers, and we're finally getting them because George Martin's never going to give them to us. But yeah, I mean, so it's difficult. I can't really say that there's going to be one or even a couple things at the movie, studios can do to combat this. Obviously we're going to have a big end year boom with Justice League, Thor, Ragnarok, and obviously Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which is fine. All those movies are going to do well, which nobody has ever argued. Just like Beauty and the Beast did really well earlier in the year, but the overall industry, is going to be down. And I just think there's streaming services like we just mentioned, but also video games. I read this article not too long ago about how they said that so many young men these days, single young men these days, aren't getting full-time jobs because they're addicted to video games. Which it's funny, but it's sad because that's the thing is just with the economic climate and everything, getting a full-time job, moving on your own. I mean, just so you can barely have any spare time, or live with your parents and work a part-time job and afford all the video games you want. I mean, it's certainly an option for some people. So
yeah.
It's not a good sign for the future.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you just look at Japan and their negative birth rate decline is scary. And shit. I mean, the day that they make those sex robots, we're doomed. As a civilization, we are doomed.
Yeah. We become
that Futurama. Was it a Futurama episode? Yeah.
I was gonna say Demolition Man or.
But I'm pretty sure they specifically had a Futurama episode where they talked about how they made sex bots and then they had to outlaw it because people just weren't having real relationships and everything and whatnot. So.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Let's get into some movie news here. We got a couple things here. We've got DC. I think we talked about the standalone movies last week, didn't we, on the WB stuff?
There's been more. We talked about the Joker origin story, but now they also have that second Joker movie.
There's this. Oh, the Harley Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're doing
now Variety's
movies.
Right, and Variety's just outright saying all the stuff is going to be standalone, which it looks like they're pointing to the Batman being one of them as well, which is why.
Matt Reeves went on the record to actually say that while his comments were meant to say were taken a little bit, not what he meant. He meant to say that his movie will not include cameos and such of other characters in the DC universe. It will be in the DC universe. It just will not be ones with.
And that's the thing is like standalone. It can mean like it stands on its own,
right?
But it's still part of the MCU.
But if you notice his phrasing, it is very PR-ish. Like if you go back and read letter for letter his actual quote, it's very PR.
Wonder Woman was a standalone film, you know?
Right, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. Like it could be that, but if you read it, I forget the exact terminology, but I mean that standalone universe, like, you know, could mean that it's a different multiverse. And the thing is that he went out of the way to comment on that, but didn't mention anything about Ben Affleck still being Batman. So that is, to me, is the biggest red flag there.
Yeah, that's gonna be. It's interesting. I don't know. I kind of am in the boat that they're obviously all news is holding until Justice League comes out, and then once Justice League comes in and makes its money, then they'll announce something. Whether that be he is signed for the movie or will be getting replaced. I don't know. I'm on the boat that he's actually not gonna do the Batman. Like, if you were going to be a director of a movie and writer, and now you're just going to be the actor again, and your script got thrown out. I mean, you're not insulted?
Yeah, it's hard to not take that personally, I think.
Oh, it depends on the situation, though.
Well, no, sure, absolutely, but I don't know. Just,
I mean, if you take what Ben Affleck said about it and saying like, you know, it was just too much to handle all at once, and if you take that at face value, then yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, being one of the most iconic characters in, you know, entertainment history is kind of a daunting task on its own, and then having to deal with the fact you're writing this movie and having to be the director, yeah, it can be a toll on the most work, and could affect his performance. And maybe he's saying he doesn't want that to happen. It's not fair.
So you think it was his decision to not
direct?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Really?
I mean, if Zack Snyder can get 3 movies, fuck, man. Ben Affleck can get any movie he wants. Guys won an Oscar.
That's true.
Yeah, that doesn't mean. Yeah, but
I'm just saying, if Zack Snyder is getting 3 movies in this universe, and Ben Affleck really wants to direct one, he's getting the direct one.
Yeah, but the thing is, at least with Snyder, I as much as I dislike Snyder's style and everything like that, I can understand why it was Zack Snyder initially, because he's worked on these big,
comic
book type movies that have, very awesome special effects and, fight sequences and action and stuff like that.
No story.
Right, and no story. Ben Affleck doesn't, he doesn't have that. I mean, you look at his most recent movie that he directed. Well, I don't even remember the name of it. It really bombed, right?
By Night, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the thing, is he was saying trying to direct that and being Batman in the BVS movie really affected his work, and he said that he couldn't do that again.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's possible. We'll see. I think we are going to wait until...
But like I said, I really think if he want to direct a DC movie, he would be. I just don't think he wants to do it right now. He doesn't want all that weight on him. Like you're saying, and it's part of what the public has been, the perception. It's like, if that fails, if that's a bomb, everything is on him. Now at least he can kind of pass that along to someone else.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I don't know. It's going to be interesting seeing as we get closer to November. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to do better, Thor, Ragnarok, or Justice League.
If Justice League doesn't, I understand. I'm saying if Justice League doesn't do better, then you can blow up this universe and start over.
All right. That's what I want to hear.
We got you on record.
Again, because who knows if Ben Affleck's gonna be back, and the only reason I'm in on this is because Ben Affleck is the Batman.
Right, I know. Like if Ben Affleck leaves, you're just done. You're like, whatever. I don't care about this.
They could reboot it. They could do anything they want with it after that, because it doesn't matter as long as Yeah.
If it wasn't for Wonder Woman doing as well as it did, I would have actually went on record and saying, yeah, I believe Thor is going to do way better than Justice League.
If Justice League does under $1 billion, then that's. I'm not saying if Wonder Woman did, poorly. If Justice League did under $1 billion, then they'd have a lot of.
I still think if it does under $1 billion, it's a failure.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't. Shouldn't do.
Wonder Woman just
But the
did
thing is, you
800
can
million.
spin movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can spin these numbers any way you want. Like you can say, hey, DC's has 4 movies in this universe and has $3 billion in the bank.
Yeah.
And it took like Marvel 10 movies or whatever it was to get to 3 billion. You know, like you can spin the numbers whatever you want. So like they're still making a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's not. Listen, if it doesn't do $1 billion and this is their entire cast in one movie, that's a problem.
No, I agree. I mean, you stop making movies though when you're still making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's not making enough, but it's not not making enough to stop.
Right, absolutely. But the thing is, I'm pretty much taking what Variety and all these other sources were saying now is true, that there are going to be movies that are not included in the DCEU. Like, it's going to be a different person as the Joker, and that Joker is completely different from the one in Suicide Squad.
And they do have a justification for that because that's how the comics run too.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's fine. But to me, that just shows a sign of weakness, though, that they don't fully believe in their vision. And I'm not saying it's not like they don't have the right to do it. Obviously, they do.
The problem. Your statement there is a big problem. That they had a vision to go by first.
Well, no.
So,
I mean, that's always been my critiquing of this universe. Ever since they announced it, that they didn't.
Their problem was that I don't think they did not have a clear vision. Like, okay, we got to do what Marvel's doing, but wait, that's not what we should be doing because we got to be DC and do something different. So we're gonna do it this way, and so they're changing it all up on the fly. Like, and so. If they're gonna do that, they just need to be clear. They just need to come out and say, "Hey, we're gonna go by the comic books, and in the comic books we have multiple universes on the same timelines and with different actual like people as these characters. So like then we can actually have cross-universe collaborations going on, and that would be neat. If they just came out and said, "Yeah, we're gonna follow this this path here, this vision," that would be so much better for the fans because at least they know where we're going.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that because actually I think this is an opportunity that they could do something cool where like you have 2 different established Batmans. You could have the Ben Affleck Batman and you could have, whoever you want.
And you could do it like they did in like Rebirth, like with Superman, because that was a fantastic way to bring the old Superman back to the new Superman and have like, who knows, Ben Affleck could sacrifice himself to bring the new Batman in. To this universe and make it work because that's how DC Comics are they do that all the time. So like
absolutely, and they could be going into uncharted territory and actually be like ahead of Marvel for once in terms of
do something different than what Marvel's doing.
Yep, absolutely.
But they need to come out and say that instead of making it seem like they have no vision. Because right now it looks like you're saying it's like, oh, we don't know what to do, so we'll just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks, and go with that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we fix DCEU, guys. If you're listening, this is how you fix it.
If you guys know any Hollywood writers or executives at Warner Brothers DC, I mean, just point them to our podcast.
Okay, anybody. Just put my name in the credits somewhere.
But I mean, the thing is though, like going back to Thor really quick, just because of how well Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did. The
fact that this looks like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. Like Thor Ragnarok just looks like it's keeping that, vibe, everything from the marketing to like what they're showing, everything like that. Justice League, I still feel like you can definitely like it's still a little lighter than BVS was, but you could still tell it's Snyder through and through. But with all the reshoots Whedon's doing, I mean, who knows? We'll see what. Yeah. But it'll be an interesting Thanksgiving season.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna eat.
Oh, dude, PAX Unplugged starts the same day Justice League comes out.
Wait, what was that?
PAX Unplugged.
Starts the same day. We're gonna be in Philly.
Oh well, that's a shame.
Oh yeah. All right. Anyways, let's get into what we've been up to and watched. What we've been watching, guys. Corey, anything good?
Well, Game of Thrones, obviously. Defenders, obviously.
Let's give a quick rundown of the last episode of Game of Thrones. No spoilers, because we're going to have a spoiler cast in this. But overall,
season finale. It felt good. Obviously, a lot of payoff in this episode. A lot of questions still. And a lot of, just a lot of... There was one thing that I was like, that was really convenient. Like, okay, like... it just, Bran is just, he's just weird because he could have solved all problems from the get-go, right?
I love the memes that came out after this with Bran. I know all. I know everything. And then
Who's the three-eyed raven now, bitch?
Yeah. And then I just saw like Kevin Hart's image going, oh shit.
But it's like, yeah, and like, obviously he's been off screen a bunch because if he was on screen, like, why would you just be yelling at Bran all the time? Like, why aren't you telling these people what's important? What's gonna happen? What's happening? So to him just come out and like say something that he's been holding this whole time, that he knew this whole time, to say some random person he meets, like he only met once before, is like really weird. And I was like, that stood out to me like as the most awkward and weird thing, because then obviously as he's narrating that part, other things happen, which you know, been waiting for, but also is like, wow, this is happening while this is happening. So
yeah,
we'll have to go into it in spoilers, but I mean that's what obviously seemed most most memorable to me for some reason. But I mean, there was a lot of heavy, big things that happened. Obviously, they're going to have a huge effect in the season.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I felt that the season. I'll give you quick impressions for those wondering. I felt the season was very good, except I do understand the gripes people have about it being very rushed, and I think that we were all penalized. That this is where the show penalizes us for being on HBO, and not maybe a Netflix possibly maybe has a better budget. I don't think HBO's budget.
Are you kidding? Like this show is the biggest show.
This is why we got 7. This is why we got 7 episodes. They couldn't.
No, I understand. I understand. They couldn't afford, air quotes, to have more episodes. But seriously, you're making bank on this show, man. You know this.
I'm just saying that Netflix.
Every time Game of Thrones comes up, their subscriptions spike.
Netflix would have done it, and they would have taken the loss on money. Like, that's what I'm saying, Corey. I'm saying HBO maybe is not the best home for this. I'm pushing for that. No.
I mean, if this was on Netflix, I would not like. I don't think Netflix is the right place for it, to be honest.
I don't think HBO is the right place. After watching this season, very good season, but everything was rushed only due to the fact they didn't have the budget.
Nah, I mean, I think that I can understand they don't have the budget or whatever, but I don't think you get the quality you get on Netflix.
No, definitely not. Yeah, maybe another 10 years. In another 10 years, I think Netflix will be better than HBO.
In the set pieces, the on-site location filming, like that's not happening. Yeah. On Netflix.
I know we talked about it, I think last week or the week before, because Mike was arguing how Netflix is screwed because of the Disney deal or whatever. And it sucks for people, it sucks for Netflix, but the thing is, they had this planned out. But I imagine that Netflix is going to be the next HBO in terms of just, paid subscribing, subscription content. Mm-hmm. I think that's their plan in the long term. Just go big and just be like, yep, we're the biggest.
No, I mean, right now they really are the biggest.
Yeah.
Subscriber base and like content, regional content wise.
Yep.
Just, I think, as far as like HBO though, like the quality shows that they have.
I'm not saying the shows aren't good, Corey. I'm just saying that I feel like.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying all I'm saying is production value. I don't think you get the same production value on Netflix. Like, just look at the Marvel shows. Like, the production value is kind of shitty, except for the Defenders. I think their production's been bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But that's why, I think give them another 10 years when they figure stuff out, when they have, the infrastructure
when they are just dominating the world. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. It's, you know what? All right, let's make like a long-term, not like a movie bet, but like a fun bet for now. We can come to like terms if you guys want to. Do you think we ever see a Netflix original movie released first in a movie theater?
Well, that kind of happened almost.
Did it already?
Almost. So that Korean movie, I forget what it's called. In Korea, they technically won't allow it to be streamed first. So they like by law they have to put it in the theater first.
Okay.
And so that was like an issue with that because Netflix wouldn't do it. So then they couldn't show it in theaters and whatever. And so I think they had to show it though at the same time or like they should have to show it first. So I'm not sure exact details on that, but I know in South Korea that movie was not streamed on Netflix before it hit the theater. It was either at the same time or before.
All right, so outside of international, let's focus on domestic. Do you think we ever see a Netflix-produced movie released in theaters?
Released in theaters? Yes.
Yes.
First? I don't
do.
know.
No,
I don't
I
know.
think it will be. Yeah, I think it might be a simultaneous.
I think
release
that
or
I-
something.
Could be simultaneous, but I don't know. Like that movie with Will Smith that's supposed to be on there. It looks weird, but who knows? Could be good. I mean, that had potential.
It's weird,
yes.
but I actually kind of I like the preview I saw for it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the concept's cool. I like the concept. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean I thought that might have a chance, but not happening.
No. All right.
Netflix. I mean, that's the thing is like they want to have their stuff on the streaming services,
Yep.
so it might take a while.
Yeah. Anything else, Corey?
Not really of note. I'm trying to think. Was there anything? Yeah, I can't think of anything now. I mean, it's just been dominated by the Game of Thrones stuff.
Okay. All right. Tony.
Game of Thrones, Dragon Ball Super. I'm actually really liking the series at this point. We're just going to completely uncharted territories, and even though the animation still isn't, what I would consider like top tier, like Dragon Ball Z was when it was at its peak, it's still serviceable for the most part. It's consistent, but I'm completely caught up with the My Hero Academia manga, and
Oh,
my
cool.
god, dude,
That's what I've been up to. That's what I've been watching that show.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. I legitimately love this series. Ever since Naruto ended a couple years ago, there's been like this void, this like
Void,
darkness in my heart, because it's just I don't have weekly thing to look forward to,
Wait, you're not
manga wise
interested in
anymore.
Baruto or whatever it's called.
No. But this it just fills that gap there, and the characters are just so colorful and different, and it's really awesome. So I'll continue to watch the anime as well. Really looking forward to seeing how they do some of these fights. Just it's funny because as I'm reading the manga and getting into what I would consider like the marquee fights, I'm just thinking about how they did the marquee fights and even season 1 of the anime. I'm just like, holy shit, this fight scene is going to be amazing when they do it. Especially because they do just like the 6-month stretch of episodes instead of like every week where you see the budget really come down because they got to stretch it out. So yeah, really look forward to everything that comes out of this.
I'm like, I've got 9 episodes left to catch up. Yeah. So I don't know how far are you, Corey?
I'm good. I'm caught up.
Oh, you're caught up. Yeah, I mean, I'm at the round 2 is just starting.
Oh, okay.
It is just starting. Actually, that's the end of the one episode I just finished. Is
The fights.
Yeah. The Midoriya. What's his name? Deku. Deku versus Ice and Fire.
Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. So.
AKA Jon Snow, but
yeah, I thought it was cool though. I really got like the other night. That was last night actually. I was like, I've given enough leeway, like episode wise, to this. It's time to start watching these things. And then
right now you're at the point where each episode's cliffhanger really is tough to stop.
I know
It's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I know. I actually picked. I picked okay here. I should stop tonight because it hasn't started yet. So I shouldn't watch it tonight because last night what happened was I started watching the season. I watched the first episode like a while ago, so I had to rewatch everything. I watched from episode 13, as what they title it in Hulu, which is start of season 2, or 14, I think it is, right? Start of 14?
Yeah.
14 till 21. I watched all those last night.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I just was like, one more. Oh, now I'm like, I have to do one more. That's the way I kept getting.
It's only 20 minutes. Only 20 minutes.
Only
I know.
20 minutes.
It's like I kept saying one more, and then I'm kicking myself because there was a pause episode when they went and like did the whole recreation mode like part, the recreation sports. I'm like, okay, that was kind of a pause episode, and I should have stopped last night. And I'm like, nope, 3 more. So, but yeah, I really enjoy that series quite a bit. Once I catch up with this, I'm moving to Attack on Titan. So.
You know what this really scratches my itch in particular is, and I mentioned before on the podcast how I feel it's a really awesome Eastern application of a more Western idea or just concept, but it really feels like the X-Men type niche for me, just because everybody has their own unique superpowers, and
I like that. Yeah, I think that's
cool. Just some of the stuff you come across. Like, I'm not going to spoil it for later. You're just like, what? But then you're like, oh, that's cool, and just go on with that. But yeah, love that series.
Yeah, I think I feel like some of the fights they rushed through in the tournament so far, but there's still some. They obviously focused on certain people, so I understand. But
yeah,
did the rock guy and the metal guy fight each other yet?
Rock guy, metal guy. Oh yeah, the two that are the same quirk.
The same position.
Yeah, they had arm wrestle. Yeah, they had arm wrestle. Yes.
Oh man, that was awesome. Those guys are hilarious. And afterwards, it was pretty fun what happens with them.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's gonna wrap up this episode. Anything else to add, guys? No. All right.
No, I mean, check out our Game of Thrones spoiler cast.
Yep.
There's a lot to talk about.
We're talking about the whole season.
We're going to move into that after the games cast. So write us podcast at allyoucangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, allyoucangeek. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook and on Twitter at allyoucangeek as well. Keep tuning in. Thanks. And we'll see you soon.
Zom Dragon.